What's up everybody, it's CJ and I'm back with another Pleasantville renovation video. So today we're going to be furnishing 30 Lakeside Drive. This house sits at the far end of the neighborhood and we only have one more house in this style to furnish and then we'll be completely done, which I'm kind of happy about. So if you remember last week I was saying that I didn't really have a storyline for that house. Well, I have a storyline for this house. So the sim that lives here is a young adult, but he's about to be an adult. And he is just very lonely, y'all. So at first everything was fine because it was just him and his dog, but he's kind of getting to that age where it's like he's getting lonely and he kind of wants to start a family. But the only issue is that he doesn't have the best time making relationships with people or like maintaining relationships, you know, because he's always busy working and he's just kind of awkward and he just thinks that like people don't want to be around him, you know, he's just very unsure of himself. So he's kind of like lonely and he kind of wants to start a family. So like I said, he is a scientist and he's really into robotics. So I guess his brain was like, wait a minute, I'm a scientist and I like to invent and I'm really into robots. Why don't I just make my own Plumbot? And the thing is, he's tried many times. He's even tried to turn himself into a Plumbot, but it just does not work out. So he found this website recently that allows you to order a Plumbot. You can customize it, make it look how you want, give it whatever trait chip you want, and they will just mail it to you, you know? So he basically ordered himself a robot wife, basically, and she will be here soon. So currently it's just him and his dog, but the robot wife is on the way. And I think in his brain, he's like, okay, I'm gonna have a robot wife and I'm gonna live here with my dog and then we can adopt a baby. There's also a nursery upstairs. So this house ended up being a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom home. I think the story behind this house is kind of interesting. I low-key want to make the sim that I'm thinking about and have them live here. Like, oh no, I don't know, y'all. Like, I think I need to do that eventually because like... So when it comes to the house though, I kind of had a lot of different ideas in mind. So when I look at this style of house, I kind of think of like mid-century modern or like art deco. So I knew that I wanted to have some modern inspiration in this house somewhere, but I also knew that I wanted some like rustic inspiration. So in my brain, I'm like, the sim that lives here is probably from Twinbrook or Appaloosa Plains, more like a rural area, you know? I feel like his furnishing style is kind of like very like rustic or, you know, like southern in a way. So we have like the shedded snakeskin print on the wall. We have a lot of browns and a lot of neutral tones in here too to kind of help fill in that vibe. And then there's also like a futuristic style for this house too. I didn't really want this house to be just, you know, only rustic or only futuristic or only modern. So I tried to have like little touches of all of them. So like the stair looks kind of modern to me. We have like his furnishing style, which is kind of rustic. And then we have like some futuristic kind of touches upstairs and stuff. I did go back and I added a lot more things off camera. Primarily, I was really just trying to add curtains and blinds to some of the windows I forgot about. I kind of skipped around a little bit with this build because I had so many different ideas. But the thing is, this house isn't that big, so I couldn't like fit all those ideas in, or I had to kind of like downsize a little bit. For example, we're in the kitchen right now, and you see I wanted to have like a lot of counter space, but then I thought about the fact that like this is a more closed off floor plan and I was like, I need to have a space for tables. I'm using the countertops in the stove from the late night expansion pack, and then the fridge is from Generations, I believe, which is always interesting to me because Generations never came with a kitchen set. It just has a fridge. So like you have this fridge and you don't really have anything to match with it really. So yeah, sometimes I'll like use this fridge alongside the late night cabinets and stuff just because I can use the color wheel to make it match a little bit more, you know, and it kind of looks like a similar style, you know. I also used a small circular table in here. So I have like 3 chairs here, potentially for him, his robot wife, and his kid when the kid ages up, you know. And then we also have a bathroom down here. The bathroom is very oddly shaped. When I first was doing the floor plan, I knew that I wanted this to be the bathroom. The bathroom just looks so weird to me and it feels like nothing in here would be functional, but trust me, it is. It's just really weird. So I'm using the tub, the toilet, and the mirror. Those are from the Master Suite stuff pack, and then I'm using the same countertop from the kitchen. And then I also went back and I added like a little towel on the wall, and I do go back and add a plant in here too. So now we move on to the home office space. So like I said, the scientist sim that lives here is also a professor. He teaches at a university. He has like, you know, in-person classes, but I feel like he also does a lot of classes online. And he does like a lot of remote work, you know. So I gave him like a little office-y setup. He has a computer, a desk, and a nice plant in a corner. There's also a couple of books in here too on the floor and stuff. And the cool thing about this room is that it has an extra attachment. So this could be another bathroom if you wanted it to be, but I decided to put an archway in here. So in my brain, I'm like, maybe this is supposed to be like a bedroom, but he turned it into an office, and the bedroom has like an attached walk-in closet. I feel like his dog sometimes comes to check on him when he's like up late at night working, just to make sure everything is okay. And I feel like the dog must have done it so much that the professor kind of felt bad. So he put like a little dog bed in the closet space. So that way, like when the dog wants to come and just check out what's going on and just kind of, you know, look around or just chill, he could definitely do it. So there is a pet bed. I also put a pet toy box, a nice rug down. I put one of those little towel cabinets in here too, just to kind of like, you know, represent this being like a closet space or like a storage space, you know. There's also a charging station in here too. I feel like he probably just ordered this offline and it just came. So he has a charging station for the Plumbot. I did not put one of those workshop objects on this lot because there wasn't a lot of room. But if you need to place one down for gameplay, you can put it in the backyard. You could probably like move some stuff around upstairs if you want to. Like I said, there is 2 bedrooms. One is a nursery, one is the primary bedroom, and then the other room upstairs is a workshop. So, you know, he is, you know, a scientist. And like I said earlier, he was doing a lot of experiments in here. And I said earlier too that I feel like at one point he was trying to turn himself into a Plumbot. So you'll see this little chair in here. You know, I'd imagine that he tried to hook up his consciousness to like a computer to like transfer it to a robot. But see, it didn't really work. You know, back to the drawing board, so to speak. So I put like a little dry erase board in his room. He's probably like trying to draw up equations. I have like a little bookshelf in here too. I put like a little table and I put some tools on the wall, and we have like a nice little tarp down here too. You know, he doesn't want to mess up the floor. This room is functional, by the way. I did play test it. So yeah, this is his little workshop, little, you know, private area. I feel like if only people knew what actually went on in this room, you know what I'm saying? Like, why is he trying to make himself into a Plumbot? Like, I don't know. Hopefully he'll be happy with his robot wife. I feel like the sim that lives here desperately needs some kind of interaction from someone. So we also have like this little like hallway section. So this leads to the bedrooms and the balcony. And I didn't really do too much here. I did add like a little plant. I did go back and add a couch as well. And then now we move on to the nursery. So I feel like he probably wants to get the kid really interested in robotics like he is. So he's like, yeah, you gotta start him out young. So the baby's nursery is kind of like a futuristic room, I guess, but it has like some of that like workshop influence. So we have the gears on the wall, we have like some little aliens and stuff like that too. The futuristic crib, the dresser is the one from Ambitions. I always use this dresser in nurseries. It just gives off nursery vibes to me. I also gave the baby that little robotic teddy bear, and then there's also a rocking chair in here. This is the one from Supernatural, and I rarely ever use this one, so I really wanted to kind of use it today. And then I also included a toy box in here. I did put down a little rug as well, and I believe that was like everything for this room. There are some curtains, blinds, and a mirror, but I believe that's like everything. I'm honestly kind of happy with the way that the nursery turned out, because I don't think I've ever really done like a nursery like this before. I don't think so anyway. So now we move on to the primary bedroom, and I gotta say, a lot of things change in here from when you see it in the video. It's mainly because I had to move a lot of things around. So I'm using the futuristic bed from Into the Future because, you know, I just had to. And I don't really ever use this bed anyway, so it was kind of like a good chance to use it. I'm also using that robot standee from the University pack. The original nightstand that I used was from Into the Future as well, but I did get rid of it because I wanted to use the futuristic one from Showtime. And then I also used the Showtime dresser. I never really used this object either. And then I'm using the Into the Future mirror because, you know, it's kind of like futuristic, kind of like sci-fi, kind of modern also. And then I'm also putting some blinds in here. We have some schematics and charts and graphs on the wall as well. I did have to like move some things around because I had the bed kind of too far into the window and it was kind of clipping through the house, so I had to move it. I also got rid of that nightstand, and I also really wanted to use this robot object. I did have to move it. So you see where the standee is? That's where the robot moved to, and I moved the standee by the dry erase board. I had to move the robot because when I moved the bed, I realized that the robot was in the way, so I just had to kind of move some things around. And then I also used, you might have just seen it, but I also used that futuristic column object, and I put one of those upstairs, and I also put one downstairs. And then last but not least, we have the balcony. So for the balcony, I just changed the color of the floor, and I also added a little lounge chair out here as well, and I put like a little gear design on it. But that's pretty much it, y'all, for the entire build. I hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun furnishing this one, so if you want to download it, I'm gonna leave this link down below. But anyway, y'all, that is all that I have for this video. If you did enjoy it, please be sure to leave a like, comment something down below, follow me over on Twitch where I stream a lot more of The Sims, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye! Thanks for watching!